All right, welcome to another Scars podcast. I've got a very good friend, Jeff Morefield, who has a extensive background in the military, law enforcement. It's said that if you put 10,000 hours into something, you become an expert. So I'm going to consider him an expert in many different fields. He's still in the National Guard, Army National Guard today as we speak. He is also a former street police officer, as well as SWAT team, rescue. Now he has his nonprofit On Call project that we're going to be talking about. But we're going to start this off really quickly with a current day event that just happened a couple of days ago, a tragedy about a young man that was definitely mentally confused surrounding the idea of transgenderism. And one of the questions I have for you, Jeff, is in your experience, the father seems to be absent, and the mother is very reticent right now to talk to any law enforcement and seems to be kind of backtracking on something. What do you think? Is there something more to this that we're going to find out or potentially find out? Why would she not want to be helping law enforcement right now?
Well, I kind of go to this. Everything's kind of changed, especially with the active shooter situations, right? So a lot of times the active shooter, they go after strictly just the active shooter. And now, you saw the occurrence where the active shooter committed the crime, and then the prosecution also went to the parents. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was just here recently within the last 6 months that they charged those parents. And I think what's happening is, especially in the world that they're in right now, it's a Catholic school, it's a private school, and that situation was very unique in itself because it was in a church. There was a school attached to it. I'm very familiar with it because I went to a parochial school when I was a kid. I went to St. Philip Neri in Midwest City, and then I also went to Mount St. Mary's high school. So there was always a church that was attached to the school,
Okay.
right? So this one's a little bit different because they were in church, right, as opposed to someone walking into the school like Uvalde or some of these other ones that have happened. They were praying. The mass had just started, and I was a Catholic, a practicing Catholic for quite a while until just here recently. But like they were in the church, and I think what's happening is because of that difference, and I also think that because it's a private school, that there was a lawyer that got involved.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was a lawyer that said, hey, hold on, because of this previous prosecution of that parent, let's hold off.
You mean the case you just referenced that did get that they did find being responsible.
Right.
Now, how old was the kid in that situation? Because this young man's 23.
Right. And I think that one was, 16, 17 years old, still living in the house type thing, but was able to get the firearms from his parents. This one is different because it's a 23-year-old with no previous criminal history. There was 2 occurrences where the police went to their house, but it wasn't anything that was a mental issue or anything like that. But they went there, and that person became an adult, but was still living at the parents' house.
Okay.
Right. So, I kind of feel like that this one's a little bit different in the sense of, there is a prosecution. This one is done in a church with a school attached to it. It's a different environment. And I honestly think there was an attorney that said, hold on, don't say anything because of that situation. Now, I also think, too, we were just talking about this literally this morning, but was the lack of fatherhood.
Yep.
Right. And so even though you're in a religious setting and in a Christian setting, you still have the dynamics of marriage. Right. And so if that father was not, and I don't know anything about that family, so I'm not saying that I know, but if that father is not involved in that family, then you're going to have this type of issue. And the reason why I say that is because of a lot of my experience that I dealt with on the street. I can't tell you the amount of times where it was like, where's the dad? And it was, he's not around, hasn't been around for a while. He's dead or he's in jail. And that happened a lot. And I wish that there would have been some actual studies that go on, like, when police respond to whatever calls, whether it's at a school or at a residence or, on the street or whatever it is, where's your father? Where's your father? How involved are they? Right. And I think because of and I'm just assuming because I haven't seen anything about the dad at all involved in this at all. They've just focused on the mom. And that's another thing I'm constantly seeing is it's just mothers with their sons. And I don't know why we're not focusing or looking for the father. Like the media doesn't want to even talk about the father.
It's a very good point.
The media doesn't even want to bring that out. Like, where's the dad, bro?
Why can't we keep them accountable, even if you haven't been in the kid's life?
Right. And so I think that is a massive issue. And the group of guys that I was with this morning on a ruck, like we were talking about that. Like we are very intentional now with our kids because as fathers, protector, provider, presider, and as fathers, and we need to ensure that we are doing the things that we need to do to ensure that our kids are taken care of and know how to be adults when they grow up, right? Unfortunately, there are cultures that are out there that don't think the same way. And so and it's unfortunate because that nuclear family is just being attacked constantly. And this is just
it's a spiritual attack.
Oh yeah, and this is just one example of the multitude that are out there that is just trying to separate the family. And then it's like, hey, let's not talk about prayer because prayer's not working.
I love it. I hate it when people say that, but it's like, well, tell me about your prayer life.
Yeah.
Well, I tried it a couple times. It didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So they want it on human time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
right.
like they are their God.
I tried that Jesus thing, and it just didn't work.
Right. They are their God. Right. And so they don't know. They don't bow down to a spiritual being. You know what I mean? And whatever their dynamic is that makes them think that way, that's on them. But at the same time, it's like, I get it. The mayor was saying, well, they were in prayer in church. And I'm like, yeah, bro, the devil wanted to take those people out because they were in prayer. Right. And he wanted something. That's, the devil comes to eat you and chew you up and spit you out and all the rest of the stuff. Right. So, that was a setting that the devil loved.
Sure.
And I can't, and I hate to say that, but that's what he wants.
Sure he does.
You know what I mean? Because to kill that spirituality, to kill that relationship with Jesus Christ,
So you think in this instance, her not talking is literally just the fact that that her lawyer said, wait.
Yeah, I think because of the recent prosecution of parents, the mother is like, mm-mm.
But I do think, and I'm going to ask this question, if we're not addressing the real issue, which is the mental illness.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's being fed into by perhaps parents. They're saying, "Oh yeah, whatever makes you feel good, let's go ahead and feed into that."
Yeah, the lack of boundaries.
Yeah.
So it's just hey, whatever they feel is good. I'm gonna champion that.
Well, you become your own God again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are I'll call it self-centered. You know what I mean? That you are their own God. You don't align with anybody that's higher than you. It's very me oriented, right? And so, whatever makes you feel good, let's champion that. Let's make sure that you're okay, happy, go lucky, blah, 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 all the rest of that good stuff. Cool. But that's not what Jesus said. Right. So
he said, die to me.
Exactly. And, and the crazy thing is Jesus was in prayer when he died.
With the Father.
Right.
Yeah.
And he with nails in his arms and in his feet, he was praying.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so it's just like to take prayer away and all that. That's not the route that we need to go down.
So as law enforcement, what do you think? Because always this comes in and says, okay, well, this was a high clip, a high magazine, rounds, things like that. We need to, why don't we do this? Why don't we take this away? But we're not talking about the mental illness side. There's thousands and millions of people that go out and have fun and enjoy their firearms as we have it, this freedom in this country.
Yeah, so I think what they do is they touch on it, but they don't really talk about it.
Right.
They'll say, well, he's had mental illness, blah, 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 but the guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. All right, so we're gonna take away the tool, right? Okay, and not really address the core issue, right? Because if you look around everywhere, everybody's fighting, and that's not just the United States. It's like I just watched Mexico.
Oh, I saw that.
They're parliamentary guys just going at
drug
it,
cartel
man.
and how they're going to treat them.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like everybody is fighting.
I feel like the veil is thinning. Like not to get in end times or here or whatever, but man, it sure seems like there's a spiritual battle going all over the world.
It is right now.
Either a revival for God, and the devil senses it, and so you get this agitation.
Right, and he is putting in all work right now.
He's working overtime.
He is working overtime to get it to stir it up.
I keep talking about the Generation Z coming up in America, and they are going to save America. They are on fire to say, no more. I want to know about God.
Right, and I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing that from the younger that generation you're talking about. And I love it. I want to feed, I want to mentor, coach, all the rest of that stuff. To those people. You're always looking for like, hey, where can we do some community, Bible studies and get-togethers and all these like even this morning when we did that, it was all in prayer and it's dynamics
but Jeff,
of guys.
We as men of God have to be an example.
Oh yeah.
A disciple, an ambassador, if you will, and they're looking at us. They're looking at us.
Oh yeah.
Hey, are we going to the strip club?
Yeah.
Are we taking care of our wives? Are we taking care of our kids? What's our mouth like?
Right.
What are we looking at on our phones?
Right.
It's serious. It's not it's very relevant to what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the battle. Like, because the things of this world want you to go that way.
Yes.
Right? The things
100%.
of the world said, hey man, go feel good over here. Go get your dopamine fix over there. You don't really need to invest into that. And listen, me, Colin, being on here, like I did some of that, back in my day, you know what I mean? Back and I fed into that devil type stuff, you know what I mean? And so like, and we'll talk about the probably, later on, but like I had patching mechanisms and it was alcohol and on all the things.
Let's jump into that. Like, so I am curious because you seem, I've known you for a little while, but you carry your cross on your chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that the devil is so strong and how he can, our flesh is strong, but our spirit is weak, and so what can you walk us through and where you're at right now with your walk with Jesus and what brought you back?
So my walk with Jesus has been pretty crazy. I was a Catholic, a cradle Catholic when I was young.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
Born Catholic.
Okay.
I was baptized as a 6-month-old or however old I was at the time. I was in the Catholic Church. Went to parochial school, like I said before. And my last stint was my sophomore year at Mount St. Mary's. Ended up going to Midwest City, and then my dad was in the military, so we actually PCS'd out to Germany, and I did my last final year of senior high school in Germany. And then I got pretty angry with God, and how that came about was I was dating a girl my senior year, and was very devout to her, and she lived in Oklahoma. And I lived here, or I lived there, and I was just very faithful, even though all the things were thrown at me when I was a senior in high school. And she came out, did the prom, all the rest of the stuff together out in Germany, and then I get back, and I found out that relationship was completely false the entire time.
So she was seeing other...
And I was not happy. I felt like I was turned against. Right, because of my faithfulness, and I was looking for a Catholic student union actually at the college I was at, and there was nothing like that there. So I went into a fraternity house, and things just went awry. Now I will say that the fraternity house brought me into my career, so I can't say anything. The fraternity had some.
You mean the brotherhood?
The brotherhood and the guys that I was with, right? So. I ended up becoming a cop when I was, 22 years old. There was a guy that was in kind of a senior guy to me that was also a police officer, tried to help mentor me into that. And so that's what I did. So when I was a junior in college, I decided that, hey, I'm going to go into the law enforcement world. So I was, instead on the 4-year plan, I was on the 6-year plan because I had to go to the academy and all the rest of the stuff. My dad was like, hey, listen, I'm only paying for 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the other 2 are
Figure
on
it
you.
out.
The other 2 on you, buddy. So I did that, and I really lost my way. I got real heavy into the work, the professional development, and not much personal development.
So you sort of could say you lost your sanctification, or
yeah.
you put it on hold.
Oh, I did. I stopped. I'm not paying attention to that right now. So really went into the work of being a cop.
I mean, would you say you were at an apostate level? Like, were you just
Yes.
saying, I'm done?
So no, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ,
Okay,
but I'm not going to practice the way.
gotcha. Okay,
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. So my value system
deteriorated pretty quick.
went down,
Yeah.
all the rest of the stuff, right? Then you throw on all the things that you see and do and are involved in, all the rest of the stuff in our police world. And from 2004 to 2006, I tell this story. I was spending about $1,000 a month at the bar.
Wow.
And back in 2004,
You could buy a
2000
lot for $1,000 in a month back then.
and I was at the bar all the time. Like, that was my source of release.
Wow.
And it wasn't God. That was my source. And what broke me from not being as intense into that world was I had a knock on the door. It was Mathis Brothers Furniture coming to garnish my wages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's humbling.
So I went, oh, I've got to figure this thing out. And so I really kind of scaled back on a lot of that activity, but I still didn't go back to the Lord Jesus Christ. I still kind of stayed on this, I can handle it. I can shoulder it. I don't need it. And as I grew up, I was a military brat, so I jumped all over the place. So I had relationship issues already because I would...
Because that
pull
one
up-
relationship? Yeah.
I had from that one relationship, but then before that, preceding that was like I would be in a environment for 3 years, and then my dad would PCS.
Oh, okay. So
And then I had
anything
to-
that you were developing even as a friendship was just
Yeah, and so I
disconnected.
did not allow myself to get deep
Mm.
into any type of friendships whatsoever, like none.
You were a snorkeler,
Oh,
not a diver.
exactly. I was
Surface
very,
level.
very surface level. Exactly. Yeah, and to be honest with you, Chad, this took a really long time for me to realize that, and even with my wife. And so as we progressed and went through, I jumped in the Army in 2009. I was 34 years old. Decided to go to boot camp. My dad was like, "You're gonna do what?"
I mean, is this a searching thing, or do you feel like at this point it was just
Yeah, I was searching for who I was. Absolutely.
wow?
Because I lost that.
Yeah, you lost your identity with Christ.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm continuously searching, finding. And so I go in and I go into officer candidate school and I graduate. You know, there was only 9 of us at 55 that graduated. And so graduated, pinned on second lieutenant. And then I went to the field artillery world and deployed to Afghanistan in 2013. And we were in Kandahar area, that kind of area.
So you were in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yep.
that's some
Yep.
heavy fighting.
Yep. And came back and I was on the SWAT team at the time. And I had gotten on the SWAT team in 2005 during that time period.
Wow.
So that'll tell you, right? So I am patching as I'm on a high level
Yep.
team at the same time, right? So as
Keeping
I'm,
the cortisol levels high, keeping all that stuff,
all
keeping,
that going,
Yep.
all
Keeping
that
the
going.
voice, trying to keep the voices away
Yep.
as much as
Yep,
possible.
you are pushing it left and right. You're blazing that path, pushing
Mhm.
it left and right. I'll
We'll put that in a backpack. We'll deal with it later.
Yep,
Let's
deal with it
go.
later.
We got to
Let's
go.
Yep. And I'll drink a little bit, smoke a little bit, blah, 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 go.
Yep.
And so, and then I came back, and unfortunately, I had scratched my eye overseas, and it turned into a really bad infection. And so when I got back home, I had a 2-year stint to where I could not see very well out of my left eye.
2 years.
2 years. So I had to go to D. McGee, get all the things. My best friend, he literally saw the doctor scrape my cornea.
Oh my God.
Try to figure out what in the world is going on with my eye. And so I lost quite a bit of vision in my left eye. And from that, because of that, I had to get off our TAC team. I had to get off our underwater search and recovery team, all the rest of this stuff. And that really just killed me. And so I'm married at the time. And my wife is also a 2-time cancer survivor. And we miraculously have a child.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
so just to back up, because
Yeah.
I think it's important. We can't gloss over what you just said.
Yep.
You have this image now that you're building and you're feeling good about it.
Yep.
Right. And then all of a sudden you get this injury.
Yep.
And it's derailing you for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now you find out your wife is a cancer survivor. Okay, we're never having kids. Oh wow, we
There it
are
is.
having kids.
There it is.
Okay, so that's 100% a child is a miracle.
Yeah.
And it's if you murder a child in the womb, it's a murder. I don't care what you say.
It is.
So now, does God shake you at all?
No.
Wow. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
No. And that's the bad thing about it, right? So I was so hard-headed and so pushed it so far because of the hurt that I didn't allow it. Even the things that were showing up as good things.
Did that affect your attachment with that child?
Oh, yeah. No. The crazy thing is that when Olivia was born, I saw so much love, like unconditional. You know what I mean? And I dove into that, right? But at the same time, I still had the hesitancy because of that relationship issue to dive even further with her, with my own daughter.
So you put up barriers with your
my
infant
own
daughter.
So I go through and I'm moving along, and about 2018 time frame, I got a good buddy of mine. He was a police officer for a while, and then went into the corporate world, and we're playing a game of golf. I suck at it.
So do I. I can swing at it.
Exactly. I can swing at it. I play left, right, or army golf, left, right, left, right. So we get done, and he goes, "Jeff, what are you going to do?" This is 2018. He goes, "What are you going to do when you leave your service?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know." I was 18, 19 years in. And I said, "Man, I don't know. I have no clue." And that really like put me back. Like I know I can't do this job my entire time. But I've got to really start searching. And so that search initiated the talk with God. Isn't that crazy?
I want to.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when you're looking at your infant daughter,
Yeah.
and you're saying, I can't fully connect with you.
Yeah.
Was there a thought in your mind oh man, this is hard for me to say.
Yeah.
If Olivia, if you knew your dad,
Yeah.
you'd be ashamed of him.
Yep.
So I don't want you to know me,
Yeah.
because the me right now is kind of ugly.
Very ugly.
Oh man. So you're having a conversation with God at this point.
Yeah. And when you get to know me, Chad, I'm a very career oriented, like task oriented.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah.
And
Type A. Let's go. Yeah.
And you don't get in my way.
You're a bulldog.
Yeah. And so I got onto this, and I really started thinking about it. And I'm still in the National Guard, and I get hey, Jeff, you're taking 120 troops over to Iraq and Syria area to fight ISIS. Cool. And I'm commanding it. Yeah.
The fiercest fighting force over there, and you're going to go take 120 troops,
guys, and I got
and
them
you're in charge.
And I got them in 3 different countries. Here's a crazy thing. Right during COVID.
Oh, why don't I know that there was operations going on? shame on me, but I thought it was kind of dying down.
Everybody thought that. Yeah.
So 2020.
Yeah. So we were, my 120 guys. I was in artillery. I was a long-range precision artillery system. So the HIMARS. So we are in Kuwait. We're in AAAB. We're in UAE. We had got orders to go to the border of Syria. Al-Qaim is where it was. And as we were about to go, we got shut down. But we were going all over the place. This is February timeframe of 2020. Spinning up, ready to go. Blah, blah, blah. We get there. We're ripping with another group. And, March 20th happens, or 19th or whatever it was, and poof, just everything shuts down. And all movement whatsoever. And so we were an Iranian deterrence at that time. So in Kuwait, because of our systems that we have. And so as we're going through, we were very highly looked at by counterintelligence, et cetera, because we were a high-level asset. And 20 came, when that March of 20 came, it was really, it affected our operations to the point to where, this is crazy, Chad, the MPs would come around us, and we're training. We're an artillery unit, so we have these things called FDCs, or Fire Direction Control Centers.
So you're firing big munitions.
So we have
in country.
We have ATACMs, we have Gimlers, all those that are there. We are practicing at the time, right? So we're practicing. We're doing our fire missions, and our guys get jacked up by the MPs because they're sitting too close to each other.
What do you mean jacked up?
Like, put on T-walls. Like, hey, you need to go over here because you are in violation of XYZ.
Oh, because of the distances, the 6 foot nonsense at the time.
Yes.
The MPs were, oh my goodness. That's probably not a recipe for a very calm situation.
Any type of wartime success, no. So I got pissed. Went over there and talked to the lead officer in charge. And then I had a visit from the 2-star general from that area. And I told the 2-star, I said, I don't know what's going on, but this is who we are, and we cannot have this happening at all. Like, none. This has to stop. And so anyway, we go through our deployment and do our thing and come back. And this is August of 20. And I come back to Fort Bliss, and I remember walking past the theater that was there at Fort Bliss, and the movie Bad Boys, or whatever it is, the latest movie Bad Boys. We had seen it right before, because we had our pre-deployment was there in Fort Bliss. We go overseas, and then we come back and do our redeployment in Fort Bliss, right? And they had us in these barracks, and I mean, it was so crazy, Chad, like how things were separated and meals were delivered, and just
it was such a weird time.
Oh man, it was so crazy, like how
so nonsensical,
how physical fitness was done, and just all the rest of that stuff. And you got to keep your warriors engaged, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't keep them engaged, guess what's going to happen? They're probably going to get themselves in trouble,
sure,
right? So, we come back, and we had seen that movie, and I come back, and I still see the same movie poster up. And that pissed me off, because I was like, why the hell did we just go over there, do our thing, and come back, and everything's freaking the same way?
Mm-hmm.
I just left my family. Everybody else, those 120 troops, just left their families. For what? And so I came back, and
Is this anger at God again?
No,
or
this is anger at the government and everything else. It's another thing was like, why did you put me in this situation?
Yeah. And
so I get back, and I remember a cafe was shutting down because of the money you're not able to get because of lack of traffic, and you can't go eat anywhere, right? And so I was like, this is crap. I've gotten a stimulus check and I've been paid the entire time.
Hmm.
So I called my friend and I said, hey, take my check. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know this, but next thing you know, I'm got Fox 25 in their cafe as I'm giving the check.
Random, or because they knew you were going to give the check, or like
apparently she called him and said, hey, we're going to do this. And so I gave the check to this cafe, which then she split up and gave to another cafe. Next thing you know, Fox and Friends
it's got you on.
has got us on national TV and giving my stimulus check to him.
How did that feel when that happened? I mean,
so
did you feel like almost?
I was like, this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where inside me, there's where that verification of my calling, to give back. That's what I was supposed to do. Do the things that you are virtually morally to do, right? What I was missing was this is from God, right? So this is part of my coming back process, right? And so I do that. I give it away. It's all over, Fox and Friends.
But to reiterate, you didn't plan for all of this. This was going to be an innocent, quiet, tithe or whatever you want to call it, give back.
Yep. And the next thing you know, I'm, hey, we want Fox and Friends to interview you.
Man, I've got a thought on that, but keep going.
So then, I'm being interviewed and I'm talking about it, and I reached out to my friends down at Two Vets down in Chickasha.
Oh, yeah.
So I wore their T-shirt and all the rest of the stuff. It helped their sales, all the rest of the stuff. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna help people with this. You know what I mean? I got a letter from the Oklahoma National Guard 2-star General General Thompson at the time saying, man, thank you for representing, blah blah blah. And I was like, this was not my intention, but I'm glad it went there. Right. So because I just felt like I've been paid this entire time and I'm getting stimuluses. Like, I need to give that away. So anyway, I go from that. I come back, reintegrate into the police world, and then I get in an officer-involved shooting on August 10th, 2021. And it was a pretty high intense officer-involved shooting. This gentleman was in his house over by the 2nd I-35 area, and he had a SCAR 308 with a 50-round drum.
50 rounds.
50-round drum. He was inside the house. He was shooting from inside of his house out. There was a friend that came and checked on him and was actually shot at. And so he ran to the local Aspen Coffee that was right down the road from him.
Know it.
And so they called 911. I get there. There's a group of us that are on the south side of the house, and I kind of go up on the north side, and we're being shot at. While
so there's live fire.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. And so we're set up. This is crazy, Chad. I was off the TAC team at the time, but the 5 guys that got behind me that I led, they all knew that I was prior tactical.
Just the way you were moving, or just because
of who they knew who I was and my background.
Okay.
So
they knew to follow your lead then.
They did. So I positioned them where to go and how to be and stuff like that. What we didn't realize was that gentleman was going to come out the back door, come up on the south side of the house, and start walking the street.
So you didn't. Was there not enough time to have someone posted up on the back of the house?
Because the back was so exposed, it would not be an ideal area and it was fenced.
Okay.
Right. So
no cover at all.
No cover. So he was shooting from inside of it, and his entire Suburban was completely shot up. Like, you could tell. And it was a newly built neighborhood. So as we're traversing over to the house, I had to call my dispatch and say, hey, almost like they're a UAV.
Yeah.
I need you to walk me in.
Yeah.
And that dispatcher to this day we have such a good relationship just because of that call. He literally walked us into a safe spot.
How did he know?
Because of Google Maps.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. So he pulled it up and he was like, Jeff, it's new, and I said, hey, this is where I'm at. This is the address.
It's not a live picture, but it's a recent picture.
It's a recent picture. And then I look up top, and it's on Channel 9. Channel 4 is over us.
Not not your police helicopter.
No, we don't have one. Edmond doesn't have one, but Oklahoma City hadn't sent one. But the media is over us.
But the media
right?
was already there.
So I'm calling Channel 9. I'm calling Channel 4. It's like, hey, we need to see what the back of this house looks like. We need to know.
Put a light on it.
Put something on it. It was daytime, so it was like, let us know from the visual what you see.
Mm-hmm.
So that coordination was going on at the time. We did not realize that he was going to walk out of his house and start walking towards us. Now, he's got this 308 with a 50-round drum. He's got peltors on his head. If anybody doesn't know what peltors are, they're your gun suppressing, shot suppressing fire, but you can hear
everything's talking.
Everything else.
So he knew
outside.
that if he fired a bunch, you couldn't hear. His noise would go ringing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, his ears would ring.
Right. So he would be able to hear people talking, but it would.
So this was pretty premeditated.
Yeah.
He's thinking through this,
and he's also got a level 3A vest on that's got 7 30-round mags in his vest, pistol mags also, and he's also got a pistol in his belt and combat boots with shorts on. So he starts walking towards us, and that's when we engaged him, because we knew, because of the stuff that he had done in the house, that he was on a mission. He was literally about to active shoot in that neighborhood. He was going to take people out.
So you clearly, I'm sure you guys are better shots. So you especially.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we put him
took
down.
The shot.
Yeah, we put him down. So I get that, and that is being watched by my wife.
Oh my gosh.
So she knows me because at the time I wear a hat. I'm the only one on the PD that wears a hat with my uniform. It was a policy breaking. I didn't care. I didn't want cancer. Man. I didn't want cancer on my head. And I knew the policy was being revised anyway. Right. So I was like, I'm going to do
Take the chance.
Take the chance. So anyway, she sees me and she sees that I'm there. And obviously my phone is just blowing up. I got people from Oklahoma City. I got everybody, because it's on live TV.
Is it going off as you're active? Doesn't that just frustrate you a little bit? Can I do my job for a second?
Yeah, and I had it in my back pocket. And,
I'm
and
just thinking,
what
would be going through my mind right now?
Yeah, and I had it in my back pocket. And I always did that because I never knew what the situation, especially in something like that.
Well, you call in somebody, right? Yeah, I need it.
And I need it. So I always threw it in my back pocket. Never thought about it. And then after this situation, we get them all done, and we go and clear the house, and inside the house is just riddled with rounds everywhere.
He sort of did a favor for you guys to come out of the house, right? Because you didn't have a visual on him, and you didn't know where it was coming from.
We knew who he was because we had prior issues with him.
Was this a mental illness, or was okay?
Yes.
Okay, clearly a mental illness.
He left and got out, and so we packaged up that whole scene, and then they escort us out because we were the ones that involved in the OIS, the officer involved shooting. So they put me in the SWAT truck, the big Lenco, the armored truck, and they send me back to the station. And so we kind of get debriefed there at the station, and then my wife and I we left. And I was down for about a month and a half before the DA cleared us. But that was another kind of approach back to God. It was also another validation that I need to start looking at what I'm going to do after my service. Mm-hmm. It was just the deployments, and then there's all these things were starting to collectively take its toll.
It's accumulation.
Exactly.
Right?
And collectively take its toll.
Do you know, I feel like there's probably a moment or a limit to what someone can take, and then they're less effective. Is there a quantifiable type number to say, okay, you're sort of in a critical mode here where you probably need to retire?
Our ego gets in our way.
Okay. There probably is data on it, but no one wants to admit it.
Yeah, our ego gets in the way. And the reason why I say that is because, man, there's such a, if you ever read the book Strength to Strength by Arthur C. Brooks, he's a renowned Harvard professor, but he's a huge Christian. There's only 17% of Harvard professors that are Christian, right?
Yeah.
He was just on Craig Rochelle's podcast.
Oh, I think I heard. Yeah. I heard.
But
him
anyway,
yeah.
he talks about
Yeah.
the fluid intelligence that goes into crystallized intelligence and the difference between the two. The problem is that crystallized intelligence at the age that I'm at right now tries to be at that fluid intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like walking up to the elevator. The elevator button's already been pushed. It's lit up, but you go ahead and push it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue pushing it, right? Well, that person that's in this phase of life is trying to be here. Right, they're trying to be in that fluid,
right,
early 40s, late 30s. You know, when they're the cowboy, Indian, or ninja, all the rest of the stuff. Those high intense operators, when they don't recognize that, hey, you are in a different season now. You need to take that mentality and use it for coaching and mentoring.
That's a great point.
Right. So, and what they do is they try to stay in that, and so that data is not captured because that ego will not allow them to do that. Right. So we find that a lot, especially when I do public speaking. I talk a lot about that because I really do believe in Arthur C. Brooks, that intelligence breakdown, that wall that's there that they don't want to go into, you know, that they don't want to go over and dabble in this because it's scary. It's a different world.
Again, it's that breakdown of identity.
Right, exactly.
I'm Superman.
Right.
I'm the dude.
Right. Right. And so
I'm not going to admit to slowing down.
No. And so I had to go, whoa. And that shooting really did that. It then started causing some marital issues and all the rest of the stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm done.
Marital issues is saying, hey, isn't there another career path? And
There's
not
another
ready to
career
give
path.
It up?
There's another.
I'm not going to give this up.
Yeah. And I was drinking and just all the things. Like I was doing it all.
Let's take a quick break because I want to start on the other side and finish this because I feel like we're still going down the trail to get to finally bottom where I need help. I'm going to surrender up again to you, God. So we'll come back on the second side.
Amen.
All right, welcome back to the Scars Podcast for part 2. Man, we were getting into some heavy stuff, and I just wanted to dive right back into, you're talking with your wife. You're still at sort of a low point. You're a lot of alcohol going on in your life. You've gotten past this traumatic event. Where are you at now?
Yeah, so I'm in this stage of life of I'm still trying to figure it out. Like the writing's on the wall, but I just don't know where to go. Like because of the relationship issues, I don't really have any trust, you know. So I don't have
even with your wife. Okay.
Like I don't feel safe to talk about some of the stuff that was going on inside my head, you know. And so started working it and you know really trying to figure it out. And I told myself, I was like, I've got to get something to knock me in the head. And we have a place out at Lake Tenkiller and we go out there and all the rest of the stuff, but man, Chad, I'd act like a fool. You know, I just get out there and it was kind of my just hang out or whatever it is. And it was like, I could let loose. I got my UTVs, I got my trailer, all the rest of the stuff and F5s just, you know.
Oh yeah. Ooh, F5s. Yeah. You were going for it, buddy.
That was my choice. Yeah. And, you know, big bourbon drinker, all the rest of the stuff. And, you know, we'd go out there and I'm not saying it was like that every night. I was not. So that there would just be, and I just need to be clear is like, there would just be times like I would have a night to where I was just a freaking idiot. Yeah. Right. And so I'd wake up and just like, God, I can't believe I just did that.
Making those phone calls. Hey man, kind of sorry I did that last night.
Like, and it wasn't anything it wasn't stupid. It was just, I was just not myself. I was not in control. I was living kind of in what I would call prolonged adolescence.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
So I was in that world of just being in that, hey, let's go have a good time, blah, blah, and just living in that world and not looking at growth.
Yeah.
Like, even though I had all these things that were, you know, whether it was right, wrong, indifferent, blah, 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 I never like collectively took it as a growth mechanism. And so, and I think sometimes I looked at it as was like, I got it. You know what I mean? And it was just this ego that was so bad. And so got to a point that I needed to check myself. And I had seen this thing called Rise Up Kings. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I wear it on my wrist. But I went there March of 2024, first week of March. And you talk about kicking yourself in the nuts.
So serious accountability.
Yeah.
It's a 4-day.
It's a men's only beat yourself down. It's and I won't go into great detail about it because if anybody ever wants to go to it, I highly would suggest you go to it.
What state is it in?
It's in Texas.
Okay.
So drove down there, had no idea what I was going to do, but I saw kind of the videos and some of the things that they talked about. Skylar Lewis is a guy that he writes the book 2-Day CEO. He talks about his failures, his infidelity, and all the rest of the stuff that he did, and then his redemption. Working his way back through God and just all the and just like that is his staple. Like he talks about faith, family, fitness, finance. Right, yeah. That's his 4 F's. And so he's got this whole group of coaches and all the rest of the stuff. And man, it was this. You walk out there, you're in black t-shirt, black pants, all the rest of the stuff. You come out of the hotel and it's like I felt like I was right back in the Army.
Oh, it's that intense.
Oh yeah, it's that.
It's
intense.
Not Philly lovey-dovey.
No, not at all.
It sounds like a Scared Straight situation almost.
It is, but it's very in depth in your faith, and that's what I needed. And I was holding so much in that I needed it to be released, and so I found myself in a location with 10 other guys. And Mondo, who was my coach at the time, ex-NFL player, crazy story on how he found God. And I am literally just upchucking everything. And that was the first time ever in my life that I had done that. Everything from childhood stuff, from seeing porn when I was in 2nd grade, all the way through. And it was in an environment that was very, we got you.
Is it one person you're with right now? Like
so
in this situation or in a group of guys?
I'm in a group of guys. There's about 10 of us in a circle.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you what the environment is.
Okay.
But it makes you talk. And so you're in there and you're doing your thing and you are, oh my God.
Is it involuntarily you just dump yourself?
You get in there
like
and you just feel the presence of the Holy Spirit.
That's what I was going to ask, because I think what a lot of people, like, I wish everyone would experience this, but when Jesus walks into the room and he's there with you, I mean, like literally there with you, it's the most cool and most exhausting experience I've ever had. I've only had it once. I pray it happens again. But is it, I mean, you go, they talk about going prostrate, which means you literally lose capacity to stand. I take that back. I've had it happen twice, actually, now that I think about it.
I got done and I was so worn out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, very free.
I think about the story with Jacob wrestling with God.
Yeah, exactly. And they put you, so this was just the start.
Well, you got to start. You got to let it go. You got to take the barrier off. Take the scales off.
They put you through the gauntlet all day long. And this is a deal where you wake up at 6 a.m. and you don't go to bed till 10. And this is 3.5 days straight. Like, it is I'm going back there next week to volunteer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm seeing 75 guys go through the same thing that I just went through a year and a half ago. That are in those same positions that I was spiritually, mentally, and physically at that time. And I cannot wait for that transformation. Like, I cannot wait to see it, because what happened to me was I then felt free to talk about my issues and then free to have a relationship again with Jesus Christ. Now, was I perfect after that? Absolutely not, right? I had to learn, but at least I opened my arms. Right? So I went on the 7th of March, became baptized.
Of this year?
2024.
2024. Okay. What does that mean to you? What did that mean to you?
So when they asked, do you want to be baptized? I prayed about it. I said, do I want to do this? Is this the right environment? Like there's 50 other guys in this lake. And Chad, we were in this lake for almost 6 hours.
Standing waist deep.
Running in and out of this lake for 6 hours. And there's a reason. I can't tell you about it.
Oh, dang it.
Can't tell you what's the reason for. But you're running in and out of this thing for 6 hours. And you're exhausted. You're tired. And you're like, but what it does is it made you dive spiritually into where you're at, truthfully, not surface. And so I went, yeah, it's time. So I linked arms with about 10 other guys that desired the same thing. And we all looked at each other, and they're still friends of mine to this day. And we went under, and I came out, and it was so freeing. It was so redemptive. It was so like, God, I'm sorry I've been this failure to you, but I know the grace that you give me. You did the work, right? I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. You did. But because of your grace, you just gave me the rebirthing. So I made a pledge. It's like, I'm changing. I'm done. I put up boundaries. I mean, all the things, right? And my wife and I together did that. I finally, and I'm not saying that our marriage is perfect right now, but it is getting there day in and day out. We have more in-depth conversations now because we've been married 14 years, the last year and a half, than ever before. Like we dive. She's a very, very spiritual.
She's always been that way?
Oh, my God. Well, after her cancer, when I was in Afghanistan in 2013, she had 46 lymph nodes cut out of her neck, and I was in Afghanistan. That really propelled her to get into that understanding, knowing, loving, just being intense and invested, right? To understand that I can't control this. You do. And whatever that path is that you have me on, I will be obedient to it, and I will go, right?
There you go.
So that's why you see on my arm, you see it on my necklace, you see it on my office, Jeremiah 29:11. I understand that the Israelites were being punished for 70 years.
That's right.
But he said, I know the path. Right. And so I had to understand that the weight that I have, the amount of stuff that I'm carrying on my shoulders, that I cannot do this.
You don't have to.
Exactly. And so I started chipping away, taking that sandbag off over here, taking that sandbag off over here, all those things. And it's still to this day, still something that I do, like, because I have that mentality of I can do anything. I'm a striver. I'm an accomplisher. I will do. You cannot tell me no. Right. So it's like, all right, now I have to change my mindset a little bit and go and get and give it to you and tell me what to do. And when I heard that whisper back in 2018 that said, hey, Jeff, yeah, you don't know what you're going to do when you grow up.
I love that.
But I'm going to tell you what you're going to do and what you're going to do for everybody else. And that's where the On-Call Project was founded, was his small tapping.
But that was 2018.
And it took me
almost
7 years.
7 years
To figure it out.
You know, when you were telling the story about giving your stimulus check away, and you did it out of your heart of goodness, right? Just giving.
Yeah.
And then the news came. Yeah. I think of you ever see the movie The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves. And
Oh yeah,
Al
yeah, yeah,
Pacino.
yeah, absolutely.
And in the beginning of the movie, it's just such a great example of our flesh always pulling, the devil always conniving. But if you remember the movie, he's in court and he's defending this guy that's clearly a pedophile. He has this moment and he says, "I'm walking away from this huge case," and then he gets sucked into this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. You know, you need to come down to our law forum. I mean, you're the kind of guy we're looking for. Of course, it's Al Pacino. He's the devil. He tries to introduce all these demonic things, and so finally he breaks away from it, right? And so he's back in that court. He's in the bathroom, and it's the greatest scene ever. It's like this reporter's talking to him. He said, "I can't believe you're walking away from this, man. We need to talk about it. This is big. This is big." And he says, "No, it's not about me. It's not about me." He goes out of the restroom and he's walking down the stairwell and he looks back up at that reporter and he goes, "Come on, just one story. I mean, think about what you did here." And he's like, "I'll call you Monday." And it goes right back to that reporter, and it's Al Pacino, the devil again.
Oh, yeah.
I think about those things and how easily the devil can come back and take what you did as good and then start going, "Yeah, it's all about you, isn't it, Jeff? Look what you did. Look at all the media, man. Look at what's going on at On Call Project, man. You got this person coming to talk to you. You got that person coming to talk to you. Man, you're going to the White House, brother. Man, look how good you are."
Yeah, and it's because you are the face. It's all about you. It's not. It's like I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, "Yeah, you're the face, but the intent behind that is all the things that are going on in the background, right?" So I don't sit there and talk about all the good stories, like, because those stories will come out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And those great positive things, they'll be done in an intimate setting.
Not only that, I promise you, and it's happened, if it's already happened, the devil's going to send somebody to you.
Oh yeah.
And she's going to look very pretty.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen you over the time. You've gotten better shape, good looking guy. I mean, you got a story to tell. Yeah. And man, you got to what do you do daily to put the full armor of God on?
That's a good point. So one of the things that I do is you have podcasts and just, books and stuff. What I've done is journal. I really do. So I really do like being in my church. New Song Church is where we go to and we serve. That is there. But on my daily, I have conversations, like on our way down here. Like, it's not yes, be in the scriptures, because that's obviously the word. That's where you got to be, right? But it's that daily conversation relationship, knowing and understanding and hearing and listening and then applying what that small little tap is. So if you feel it, if you hear it, if you know it, because you have a relationship with God, it's going to steer you correctly, right? So the Old Testament was all about laws and the prophecies and stuff. The New Testament's all about heart. So if your heart is aligned with Him, you don't need the laws, right? Because your heart is aligned with Him. You can read the Old Testament and the New Testament, as long as your heart is with Him, and He's steering the way for you, and you're obedient to that. Then that's your devotion, right? That is who you are. That is what you become. Now, is it something that you as Chad wants to do? Maybe not. But you know what? If you listen to it, I guarantee you the blessings are going to be so much better than you even thought of. You know what I mean? And so, like when I heard this in 2018, I really looked for that guidance. And it was, Bible plans and all the things that are out there, right? Yeah. What I like is a Bible that you can actually read, right? Hard pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and
make some notes in there.
Exactly. Yep. It's in my office, and we're doing right now. My wife and I are doing the 52-week, reading through the Bible
front to back.
Front to back.
Love
and
it.
it's a workbook that we have. Kind of go back to your original question. From 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. we are on our back porch together.
So you do it PM.
PM.
Interesting.
And the reason why we do that is because I would much rather look to the east when the sun's rising and saying, God, give me the guidance.
Uh-huh.
And as the sun sets to the west, I want to give thanks with my wife.
I love that, man. That's interesting.
So I want to be in gratitude. I want to talk about our day. I want to talk about our goals and our dreams and all the rest of the stuff right there on that back porch. Right. And so it gives her the ability and the freedom to talk to me in an intimate setting. And it gives me the ability to do the same thing. So, you know, the woman always wants to feel safe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
And
the woman wants
yes.
to feel safe. The male wants peace.
Mm-hmm.
He wants peace and respect. The female wants the safety. And that's the emotional side, the spiritual side, the physical side of safety.
Mm-hmm.
And when we violate those, that causes some issues, right? And so having that intentionality to where my daughter is in bed at this certain time. Why? Because mom and dad are going out in the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's because we are the parent. We're not the friend of
Yeah.
the daughter.
That's right.
We are the parent, right? And so, and my daughter understands that. She knows that we go out there and we do that. And you know what does that do? That makes her grow up and say, this is the type of lifestyle I want to have when I'm married.
Well, what she's seeing is the realness of a relationship
Yeah.
with Yahweh.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we pray with her every night. There is not a night that we don't go without praying over our daughter in bed. You know, my daughter even has Levi Lesko's little booklet that she goes through, right? So she has her own devotionals, right? You know, she's in the Oklahoma Christian School there in Edmond, and so she's been there since kindergarten. She's in 4th grade right now. Chad, she is literally taking some of the things that I'm doing with On Call Project, and she told me, she goes, Dad, I want to do something. I said, what do you mean you want to do something? She goes, I want to help people too. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She goes, I want to help the world. I said, well, that's a pretty broad,
That's a
statement.
bold statement there.
She goes, and I said, well, can you get a little bit more specific? She goes, I want to help the world know Jesus. I said, cool. We're starting to narrow it down.
Mm-hmm.
I said, how would you like to do that? I want to do it through Bible distribution, food distribution, and clothing distribution from the house. Okay. And she goes, I want a logo. So I'm telling this story in a fundraising breakfast that I had last February, and my branding company was there. Spray Can, they're out of Yukon.
Yeah, I know.
And
Great people.
And they were like, we love it, so we're gonna do it. And so they made this logo, HTW, all the rest of the stuff to help the world. And it's got, you know, they brought her in, she gave the vision, all the rest of the stuff. And so now that we have that, now it's like, now we're gonna go into the actual conducting of that actual, and we're gonna make it a nonprofit,
Mm-hmm.
all the rest of the stuff. And so what I was trying to get at was like being that guider through actions,
Mm-hmm.
not do as I say, do it not as I do, but do as I do, right? So the mentorship, coaching, the parenting of our child, she has just grabbed it and she said, Dad, I want to do that. And instead of going, no, you can't, I'm too busy, I'm like, hey, how can I help you?
Well, what she's seeing is like literally, it's like we have to we don't deserve salvation. Let's face it. Like, but we get it. It's free. It's the only thing free you're going to get in your whole life, and you don't have to do anything for it.
Yeah.
However, faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
You know, as Paul said.
Oh yeah.
And so what she's seeing modeling in the home is a God, family, country relationship, and it's being destroyed by the enemy if he can.
Yeah.
But it's one family, another family, and another family. It's you know, one time I was thinking, when I received Christ at 42, man, I was on fire. I got to do this. I got to get more people involved. And a guy, he kind of called me as older, very much better in his faith, but longer journey than I had. You know, I was an infant, and he just said, you know, I hear all these great things that you want to do, but I got a question for you. How many people did Jesus directly affect? And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like 12?
Mm-hmm.
And it really put me in a different position of just saying, he goes, why don't you see if you can save yourself first and see if you can do that right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, you got to get yourself right before you can start pushing that out. And I think a lot of that had to, with me too. I'm glad you said that, because that was really the essence in baptizing me, because I knew that I had to get myself right before I did anything else. Like, I had to be aligned with God.
I mean, there's all these silly analogies. Put your mask on before you put your next.
I mean, quit being a poser, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I think a lot of times what I've found myself doing this is that I get so involved in, I'm a Jesus freak, and I do this, that I lose the time to spend one-on-one with, and the other thing is that people are like, I don't know how to pray.
Yeah.
Just have a conversation. And kind of to your point is you have a conversation all day long.
Yeah, I do. I find it in the weirdest places. I'll be in the shower.
Yeah.
Just alone. I'll get in my truck and I'm just like, I'm gonna turn this off.
Yes.
I'm just gonna turn all
what
the
do you
noise
put
off.
in your
I'm just gonna put on noise and I'm just like, hey, how you doing, God? Doing all right up there? Just have a conversation. I think everybody thinks that, and I was guilty of this, is I think you had to have some formalized way of talking, right? And you had to, thou, all the rest of the stuff. No, just be you, man, and talk to him. But at the same time, listen.
Do you think that that's the hardest part, right? A guy challenged me one time and he said, listen, all I want you to do is sit there for 1 minute and only think about the Holy Spirit. Jeff, I don't know if I can still do it today. Our brains have 1,000 things going through them of the world.
Yeah.
It is, almost impossible. It's not impossible, but man, you have to be intentional.
Yeah, have to.
Very intentional.
Yeah, you have to sit there and you have to get those distractions. So like literally as I'm talking to you, the phone's off,
I'm looking at mine.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, man, can I have this time?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so like my wife, she told me the other day, she was like, I turn off this notification, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, she goes, it's so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do those types of things because the things of this world will take you over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and it's because it's a dopamine fix. It's all those things that get you to be satisfied, and you don't need that guy.
Yep.
Just do these things.
Hey, look how good things are going right now.
Look at that nice and shiny object over there.
And it's I was reading in Kings right now, and I'm sorry, it was Judges, and it's Gideon, Gideon in the 300, and Gideon gets, wipes out all these major wars and battles, and at the end of his life or close to it, he decides, you know what, gather up all the gold, and I'm going to make an ephod out of this. And so now what happens is all his people that he just delivered out of tyranny starts worshiping the ephod.
Yeah.
And as soon as he dies, that was his mistake. As soon as he dies, they go right back to the worldly Baal worshiping and forget about God who delivered them out of that. It's the cyclical thing that, man, I think we just all had to be aware of. And that's where you go back to the Old Testament and go, yes, that's a history lesson, but by gosh, don't leave that out of your walk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you have to have your heart aligned, right? You can't, this up here, your noggin is not going to steer you right.
No.
Okay.
Gosh, no.
Promise you it's not going to. This is going to steer you right? So, I read a study the other day. It was talked about we have somewhere between 80 to 95,000 thoughts go through our mind every day.
That's incredible.
90% of them are negative.
Wow. 90%.
90%. And within that, 60,000 of them are decisions. So everything from turning on a light.
Literally, you're sabotaging yourself 60% of the day.
Absolutely.
By the thoughts that are, and so, you talk about your heart and trusting. Like, I had a buddy of mine that was on, and he said, there's a lot of, they said, don't trust the heart. But there's another side of that. When Paul says you get a new heart, I cut that old flesh out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can start to trust the heart.
Oh yeah.
Is because if the Holy Spirit is starting to work itself in you and you allow that, then you have discernment.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Right.
Don't
Absolutely.
trust the brain, trust your heart.
Absolutely.
But it's only after you've surrendered.
Absolutely. You have to be in that surrendered posture.
I'm going to take another quick break,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to get into some pretty tough questions in
Cool.
terms of the actual law enforcement and then what you're doing at OCP and where we're going with it. So.
Awesome, man.
All right. Thanks,
Sounds
man.
good.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of the podcast
Yeah.
with Jeff Morefield. Man, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
I was thinking about when you said you started OCP and or you had the idea of OCP in 2018.
Right.
Didn't execute on it for like 7 years.
Right.
And I think about the building we're in, Warriors Rest, was it was the concept was born out in 2018. I started Scars and Stripes or had the vision of Scars and Stripes Coffee in 2018.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like in my mind going, God, how were you working this that long? I mean, like,
yeah, he was working overtime.
I mean, we talk about, God wants your sacrifice. Just sacrifice.
Yeah.
Man, you can change someone's tire on the road when you're busy. That's a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
But the obedience is walking that walk
Yeah.
and not straying from the walk.
Yeah.
That's obedience.
Yeah. And the obedience will give you a path, but are you going to stay on it?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because
It gets narrow, doesn't
man,
it?
it does. And the things of this world will distract you and all the rest of that stuff, pull you to the left, pull you to the right as you're traveling down this road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where those boundaries come in, so importantly is, I heard that if you have mission, vision, values, if you're going down that path, as long as you're within those three, the MVV, then you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone tries to come in, i.e. the devil, through various different proxies, pull you there.
He doesn't have a pitchfork and horns. I'm just telling guys. Don't worry about that. That guy's not coming.
Yeah, no. It's through somebody else.
Probably going to be high heels and long hair and probably
they'll-
look pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. It looks real good. Yeah. Get that dopamine fix real quick.
All right, so here's some tough questions.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about law enforcement here. All right, you're in law enforcement because you were picked on as a kid, and now you're in law enforcement. You got a gun, and you just want to be a tough guy. That's what you are about.
Yeah. So it's funny. I heard that a lot, and it was always from somebody who was getting in trouble. So there you go.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't do anything wrong.
You're just being
this is
mean
the
to
reason
me.
why. Yeah, this is the reason why you're doing this. Okay. No, I did just fine. I was a jock. I did just fine. You know what I mean? And
I had girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
People liked me.
yeah,
okay?
I did a lot of things. Like
You might say I was kind of a big deal in high school.
Right. So I heard that so many times in my
Where
career.
does that come from, though?
I don't know. Some good idea fairy just showed up and just said, "Hey, let's do this." You know what I mean? Let's say this and because what it does, Chad, is all it does is deflect. That's all it is. It's a deflect from my responsibility of why I did what I did, or the only reason why they're like that is because they got picked on. No, the only reason is because you screwed up.
Yeah.
You broke an ordinance or a law or whatever it is, or you were in a fight. It was something the reason why we got called there.
Right.
Right. So don't try to punt your ownership over to us. Right. Like own it. And so I would hear that all the time and I'd go, okay, you have no idea who I am. But
It's funny because when I get a chance to talk with some law enforcement and get to it, and they'll say, "Man, that guy was pulled over and he just had a joint in his car, and they impounded his car. They put him in jail for a night. They're just targeting. That's not." And the guys are like, all right, come on. You really think that happened? Mm-hmm. You think that's all it was? There was no history there. There was no other thing.
Always more to the story. Like, when we would stop, because I did a lot of gang enforcement. And so one of the things that we would do is we would find PC, probable cause, to stop it. But there was always a reason. Mm-hmm. Like, your tag light's out. Okay, well, you're out at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's loaded down with, 4 or 5 dudes in it,
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of an area that's known for criminal activity. There's more to the story, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So come on. I mean, law enforcement, right? So there's the law and we enforce it, but we are also going to find out the criminal aspects that is required for us to do to make people feel safe, right? So yeah, you sped, you didn't use your turn signal, you jaywalked.
Yeah.
Okay, that was always my favorite, jaywalking. And that might be the reason why we come and talk to you, but we're trying to find out who you are, why you're here. Are you a resident of Edmond? How long have you been here? All the rest of this stuff, right? Because that's what we call a field interview.
Yeah.
So we use that just in case 3 weeks from now we have some incident that comes up that fits the description of this field interview. We would not be doing our job if we didn't get background investigations on people and know our community. So like when people say, well, you need to know your community, they paint it as this rosy picture, right? Like, just need to know your community. I get it. I understand that. But there's also a criminal element in there too that's going to sneak up and bite you. And if you don't know who it is, then you're going to be pissed off at the police because they don't know who it is that did it. And it's taking too long. Or, how come you didn't know who JoJo is? Because you didn't know your community very well, right?
So there was a time when I looked back in Hollywood, and I'm asking, this is my conspiratorial hat I'm going to put on real quick, and you can disabuse me or say, well, maybe there would make some sense to that. So as I went through and I'm looking at 2020, 2019, and I'm hearing defund the police, and it's being written on literally the sidewalks and all this kind of nonsense. And I start to reflect, because it was COVID. I didn't have a job, really. I was just sitting around. And I started thinking back in the 1990s, and I was thinking about the movies that I watched in Hollywood, and it dawned on me how many times there was a movie that would be depicted, and by the end of the movie, you were rooting for the criminals because the police officers were so corrupt that they were worse somehow than the criminals. Yeah. And I thought to myself, this idea has been being baked in to disrupt a beautiful country, America, and we're too powerful to take over from the outside at this point. So how do you take it out? You take it out from within. And maybe this is conspiracy, but when you start talking about defund this and defund that, it's literally people saying this or law officials that have zero consequence in their own neighborhood to, quote, defund the police. It's always those that are going to be directly affected in those neighborhoods by doing that, by saying, please don't defund the police. Yet you never hear those voices. Am I crazy that there's somehow a breaking down or a trying to look and put a narrative together that says, oh no, if you're a police officer, you're corrupt. I mean, you might as well be in favor for the criminal.
Well, I mean, if you go back to the 90s, you had, the movie Colors. You had the movie,
Heat. Remember Heat?
Oh yeah, Heat with Al Pacino and all the rest of those guys. And it was always.
And look at. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but look at Robert De Niro today.
Oh yeah. I won't watch any of his movies.
I can't anymore.
I used to like him.
I did too, man. I mean, come
Al Pacino,
on.
Robert De Niro, when they were together.
I wouldn't put Al Pacino there. He hasn't said anything. It's Robert De Niro.
I know.
It just burns me up.
I'm just saying. Like, those two together were always rock stars.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, man, that was a movie. You're going to watch it.
Yeah, if they were both together, boom, let's go. I think honestly, when that culture came out and it was F the Police and all the rest of stuff.
Man.
All those songs on all the rest of the songs in Tupac, and it was all about the and obviously that was the gang culture in LA that was going on, that they didn't like the fact that Gates had put on, the Chief Gates from LA had put on this massive suppression of the gang activity there in Los Angeles. And so obviously they're doing their thing where they don't like it. They don't like the fact that the police are, doing what they need to do and looking for guns and dope and, prostitutions, what they call human trafficking now, and all the rest of the stuff, you know what I mean? So like that stuff was going on back then. And because of that, that group of individuals started moving, east, into Phoenix and Denver and Oklahoma City and Dallas and all the rest of the stuff because of that hard suppression. And I think it started at that point, and then I think it really grew even more in 2013, and that was during Ferguson.
Mm.
So you have a thing called the Ferguson effect, and I don't know if anybody, if you look it up, you can actually YouTube a lot of quite a bit of stuff, but it was all about, because when you remember Ferguson, they were calling your armored, personal vehicles tanks. You know what I mean?
I don't remember this.
That's what the media was calling. I was like, man, I don't see a 105 turret on the top of that armored. You know what I mean? All you're doing is you're protecting your people from being shot at. That's not a tank. You know what I mean? But the media would say
portray it that
way.
way.
Yeah, they wouldn't say. I mean, and I heard it just the other day. I heard them talking about tanks on the road when it came to the LA riots that were not the riot, but the stuff that was going on with the immigration stuff. And
Sure,
they were saying, well, there's tanks out there. There's no tanks. Okay, they don't have treads, right? They're not M1 Abrams,
right.
So let's get the verbiage right. Words mean things, and so I really started seeing the demise and the fall of law enforcement, especially in the proactivity side of the house after Ferguson. And it was you remember when Obama did the whole I'm gonna have a beer with a cop type of thing, and then it was Ferguson, and then it was all these other things that started taking place, and then you get into 2020.
Oh my gosh!
And then it was
just
completely
off.
it just came off, and so it was a building process. Everything there's not one singular event that makes things. There is a curated process to demise, like you're saying, from the inside. And I hate to say it, but a lot of our administrators fell into it, right? So they were like, well, the national FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, is pushing this, or the lawyers are pushing this, And I remember one specifically was neck restraints. And it was right after the neck restraint that was done up in New York
with Danny.
Yeah, and it was I can't remember the officer's name that was, and the person that was involved in New York City, but it was over cigarettes. Like they were arresting him over cigarettes. I can't remember the actual name, but then they started going away from neck restraints. You can't use neck restraints anymore. And I'm looking around at our guys, and I'm like, have we had an issue here with somebody with a neck restraint utilizing it and actually applying it correctly and being able to use it? That's a tool. Now you're going to take a tool off of our tool belt. You know what I mean? So now we're even more restricted, right? And that's why you see a lot of cops they rely on their belt too much, like their tasers and all the rest of the stuff, where they don't go into physical confrontation, because when they do, they get themselves in trouble, right? And when you start taking those tools away, there's no way for you to wrangle this dude up or gal up because of those types of issues.
If you do a neck constraint right, is it a passive constraint, or obviously it's active constraint? But
yeah, so basically it's you're taking the oxygen out of your and it's proven. I've seen it done, and there's no residual, no medical residual, but you get this person to literally go out for 4 to 5 seconds to where you have the ability to control that person, put them in handcuffs. Next thing you know, they wake up and boom, they're in handcuffs. They can't do anything more, right? So I've seen it applied multiple times, and it's been done correctly every time that I've seen it. I think the problem is that the visual from that New York incident, then they went, whoa.
Is there not also some other factors with substance that is on board with that person that can lower respiration or whatever it might be, or suppress the respiratory system?
Yep. Yeah, and I've never seen it to where there has been a medical issue afterwards. If it's applied correctly, there's no residual. So I can remember specifically one where one of our guys was out on a stolen vehicle. He's the only one out there. It's 11 o'clock at night, and this guy comes and attacks this officer, and this guy is about twice the officer's size.
Wow.
And if this officer had not known jiu-jitsu and the neck restraint, it would have been a bad deal. And so you take that tool away, now you just jeopardize that officer's safety and his ability to go back to his wife and his kids.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So to kind of go back to your story, like the defund the police was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Right?
Did it work anywhere?
No, it didn't.
Did crime go down anywhere that they defunded
it
the
didn't,
police?
It didn't at all. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? In fact, and I've had some conversations with, I still have friends in LA and Chicago and some of those other places, and they see it rampant out there. I mean, they're just like, our budget's depleted. We can't do these things. I remember going in LA and training with those guys, and we would drive down in LA County, and their homeless was just as far as you can see in their riverbeds. Like they have these concrete riverbeds,
Yeah.
they go into the bridges, and they would not go in there. They would have homicides sitting there, just laying there for weeks.
Oh my gosh!
because of the
stench of that,
because of the safety issue.
What? Yeah. We went crazy over a virus, yet we won't have a fund enough to go in there. Think about the disease that starts to happen when you have how fast that could spread.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough money to clean that up.
Yeah.
Or we won't appropriate the money to clean that up.
Yeah. And their equipment out there was just god awful.
I'm gonna touch one more thing, and I want to get to OCP because we're getting close on time. But do you think that there are departments that could have systemic type just bad behavior or bad leadership that leads to some bad decisions?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Well, so our experience with the promotion process is, in my opinion, and I'd say is my opinion only, is not, it does not find the best leaders. Okay. We do a lot of written testing, oral board testing, that kind of thing. When I went through myself, there was no like, what have you done to develop your leadership? Like,
So I'm gonna cut.
Sure.
So we're promoting good test takers.
Yes.
That says a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot right there.
Yeah.
And then you could see where it exacerbates. You get a pay raise, I'm sure. You get a power position, yet you know nothing of what it is to be
You
on.
know nothing about building a culture.
Yeah.
You know nothing about. So one of the things that I really learned was in leadership, you ask questions. We have been praised so much as when we were kids of answering, raising a hand, right? We raise a hand. What do we get? We get the reward, right? But we failed to ask a lot of questions. And when we fail to do that, we don't develop relationships. So when you're having a relationship with somebody, I get to know Chad, your family, your dynamics, your history, all the rest of that stuff, right? When I'm asking questions, when I'm so egotistical that I'm just going to give you the answer and suck it up, buttercup, that's the problem. And I saw that a lot. I saw that a bunch.
I've got a good friend, Ryan Campbell, that I mean, you may have met, but he was talking about basically one day he's a manager. He's going high up in corporate. But he just said, I don't really talk about sales skills. If you're at this point, you pretty much know how to sell.
Yeah.
It's more or less what is between your ears that's creating a barrier for you to get to another level.
Right.
How do I not know? If I don't ask the question, how can I ever figure that out?
Right.
What is it that's you're dealing with?
Yeah. There was, some of the things that I really questioned was like, why are we not taking climate surveys within our agency?
What do you mean climate surveys?
So surveys that would be pushed out, and they just recently started doing this, but that would be from like the city or from the chiefs and stuff like that would ask anonymously a litany of questions of what the climate's like in this department, and it would be answered anonymously per officer, and they would get a certain percentage of who answered it, right? Not by names or anything like that, but they would ask, like, how's the shift? General question. How is the schedules formulated? Are you in approval of the schedules? Do you get enough days off? Do you work? Do you get enough call volume? Are you championed in some of the things that you're doing, right? So all those, do do you receive the accolades that you feel like you should be getting, right? Is your work environment something that you want to come to every day, right? Or do you have enough equipment? Do you have enough policy and procedure to protect you, right? Those questions that would create a culture, right? And then do you have a line of communication with your lieutenant or your captain or whatever it is to where you feel like you could come to them for any reason? And don't get me wrong, professional, personal sometimes, right? But at the same time, are you creating a climate to where it's like, hey, boss, man, I had a rough night last night with the wife. I'm telling you right now, I'm not 100%. And are you going to be demonized from that? Or is that lieutenant or captain going to go, hey, how can I help you? Or how can we help you?
So I'm going to switch gears because it's a great segue into OCP and what you're doing at OCP. Yeah. And if I read through and I see you work and I see that there's an entrepreneur in you, and what you're trying to do. I feel like there's some aspect of when you leave the law enforcement or any first responders, there is no transition assistance program.
None.
It's good luck.
Yeah.
I had on my heart in 2018 to say, I wonder if entrepreneurship could be a segue into a healthy platform with former service members to connect together and then peer-to-peer keep each other accountable, also make a little bit of money, learn a new skill, and then have some joy in their life. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's very valuable. So going back to that 2018 timeframe,
sure.
I was in it. I was like, I'm scared. Like, it's an identity thing. I don't know what it looks like on the other side. Like, I'm going to take this uniform off. And I had an issue between role and identity, and I couldn't separate it. So my role was a cop, and I would merge those together.
What was your identity?
My identity was a cop, right? My identity was a cop, was a dad, blah, 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 all the rest of the stuff. But I couldn't separate it. I couldn't separate the fact that my police officer world is a role that I do.
Was it like I don't want to take the cape off. Right. I don't want to be Batman. I still want to be Batman.
Yeah, I want to be. I
don't know what I would be if I wasn't Batman.
Right, exactly, and it's that mindset. I always say master the mindset, and it's one of those where you are given the power and the abilities and the things that people see. You take that off, now you become nothing because people don't see it, right? And so that role is very visible. Yeah. It's very out there in the public to your family. Like, what's the first thing, I always got introduced, hey, this is my friend Jeff Morefield. He's a cop, blah, 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 blah. That first thing.
Yeah.
Now it's, hey, he's, he runs a nonprofit, blah, blah, blah. And what I'm trying to do is change this. Like, hey, he's a husband, father, and, follower of Christ. This is the things they do. And then hopefully the nonprofit will come up about 3 or 4 sentences later. You know what I mean? But it's changing that, right? And guys and gals have a lot of issues when they get rid of that role. Their identity just crumbles. And so when we talk in our courses and seminars, it is understanding that you have to understand that that's probably going to happen. How do you mitigate that now?
Just expect it.
Yeah. You be prepared for it, right? So how do you mitigate that process? And when you just go, all right, I'm announcing my retirement like I did. I announced mine 6 months beforehand. And then I went from a name to a number.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
That
it was
fast.
That quick. Yep. You know what I mean? I was like, Jeff's done. You know what I mean? So you're over there now. Sit on the sidelines while everybody else did. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still working. I'm still here, still taking calls. You know what I mean? Doing my thing. And but what happens is a lot of our people just wait until that last minute, until that retirement date. And then they go, oh, crap. I have no idea what to do now. And so we're trying to mitigate that. And there's a lot of stats. We don't have a VA system like the military does, and obviously as a veteran myself, I'm very familiar with the VA system.
Yeah, you get to see both sides.
Absolutely. And I saw the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program that the military
Boots to
has,
business,
all
different things
that
like- yeah.
stuff. And when I started looking at the first responder world back in January 23 and literally not seeing, I Google Transition Assistance Program.
Not there.
What are you talking about? Like Google was screaming at me like, that's foreign language, bro. You know, I would then contact my friends out in the West Coast and up north and all the rest of it. They're like, Jeff, what are you talking about, man? There is no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is fire, police, EMS across the board. And so then I contacted my friend that I was telling you about on the golf course, and I said, man, I'm researching this, and I see something that we could do. Like we could really do something that's pretty cool. I said, well, first I got to figure out myself, right? So I started doing this, and I was like, man, I need to come up with a name. I mean, just scratch, Chad,
Yeah.
scratch.
Got a blank piece of paper.
A blank piece of paper, and I'm drawing. And I have this, I was like, babe, I've got to put a whiteboard in my office. She was like, a whiteboard for what?
It's going to look awful.
Exactly.
Gotti, what are you even talking about?
Oh, and trust me, she's OCD, so it had to be a certain whiteboard, right? It just couldn't be this, thing that you get at Hobby Lobby and
The
go
feng
forward.
shui's got to be still intact.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And so I'm drawing it up there, and I'm doing it. It looked like a beautiful mind up there. I'm doing my thing, and I'm like, okay. So then I reached out. A buddy of mine had a website done. And I said, hey, did they help you in creating this? Because, like, I am not an artsy dude whatsoever. I kick indoors, bro. You know what I mean? And so I go over to this place, and they were just like, well, what's your vision? How do you want to do it? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, this is kind of the vision. And I said, what I did come up with, literally in a dream,
Oh, nice.
literally in a dream, was use OCP. And I was like, why OCP? Well, because the military have OCP uniforms. But use that for a first responder. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I woke up to that dream. Like, what are you how does that correlate? Right. And so I'm thinking about it. And this is, before ChatGPT and all the rest of the stuff. And I'm just like, man, we've all been on call. Yeah, I mean, like pagers,
Yeah.
the hard line, all the rest of the stuff. We've had to answer the call. The radios. What if we did a program or a project or something like that to help them? And it literally just happened. And so from there, I took that, I brought it to the brand. And I said, listen, I want the brand to tell a story. So if you look at the O, it's really tattered. On the P, it's pretty decently clean. So, we see somewhere between 600 to 800, critical incidents for in our career, and we get beat up, tattered, all the rest of the stuff during our time frame, right? What we hope to do in the linkage between the C and the P is to give them hope and purpose and abilities and pathways to go into that project to where they can leave that life back there, they can clean themselves up, and they can go into their next phase of life.
So you put a statistic out there. This is staggering.
Yeah.
That the average lifespan of the average human is 15 to 20 years past service people.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
Yeah. And it's so when I was researching, I was like, and like, again, there's no VAs, so you have to literally go on Google Scholar. Google, and then in their line, Scholar, and then it brings up all these medical, and in the Scholar side, you first responder, life expectancy, blah blah blah. And there's a lot of white papers, a lot of research from the CDC.
What's the top 3 reasons?
So, first one's cardiac issues.
Okay.
Second one's cancer. Third one is suicide.
All related to stress.
Yep, every one of them. And when you don't repurpose them and don't give them the opportunity to find out what that pathway is for that next phase of life, they succumb to one of those 3. And I'll give you an example. So there's a firefighter that he's part of our mentor circle, and he was in the Oklahoma City bombing, and he was forced retired in 2018. So he's forced retired, and luckily he had a gym that he owned in Norman. And then what happened in 2020?
Shut it down.
Shut it down. and for a year and a half couldn't find a job. He was struggling bad. Has a massive heart attack. Massive. Luckily, his wife was a nurse, was able to give him CPR, and 4 days later woke up with no residual.
Wow. That's impressive.
No residual.
No loss of.
No loss of function. Nothing. Everything's good. He's golden.
Got the stent or got the bypass?
No, I haven't gone into like exactly what he has going on.
I mean, you get a blockage
side.
like that, it's probably some medical.
So he right now currently sits as one of the regional sales managers for Bitcoin.com.
What? Yeah. You go from gym owner, massive heart attack. Now you're repurposed, and he's selling Bitcoin.
And that heart attack happened at that 5 year. Right at that 5
He was about to be a statistic.
He was about to be part of that 5 to 7. And so when we look at our mortality rate, we're 24% higher than the general population. You know, we died about 65 as opposed to 82, 85. And that's where that stat comes in, that 15 to 20 years. And a lot of it has to do with that stress and that repurposing. That because we're so service-oriented individuals that when we can't find it again, that's when we struggle.
Well, that's when the voices get louder.
Absolutely, they get louder.
And then the voices cause stress, and ultimately,
and there's just so much golf and fishing you can do.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And
so, I mean, it's. I don't want to like knock any nonprofit. God bless you, but I'm sorry. Weekend of Fishing, it's stuff like On Call Project. You know that man, we need to get you right, and we're not leaving.
Yeah.
If someone were to donate, have you quantified yet? I know you're doing great things. If someone were to say, okay, if I donated $3,000 to the nonprofit, how many does that affect, and what does it do for them?
2. So you're going to be able to get 2 first responders to go through our seminars and courses, and then obviously there's a mentor circle that also follows them along as they progress through. So.
They sort of get a life coach.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
they do this. Absolutely. So one of the things that we do is a Beyond the Badge seminar. Actually, we're hosting it here in October 21st through 24th
at Warriors Rest.
Yeah, here at the building, and in there is a 4-day seminar, and they can come in. They're 18 months out from hitting that gate of retirement, and the reason why we want to do 18 months. I
love that idea.
Yeah,
let's get ahead of it.
Exactly. So if they need to have some certifications, something like that. I've even been reached out by Grand Canyon University to go out there and see they're the biggest Christian university in the nation, and they have a program for first responders.
What's the name of it again?
Grand Canyon University.
Grand Canyon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So and they heard about us, and they're wanting to work with us. And so if you're looking at getting the rest of your bachelor's, or you want to get an MBA or something like that, they're looking at helping out in that process, right? So there's a lot of different intricacies that go in. If you want to get a home inspection, license or something like that, a real estate license or something like that.
That's huge, yeah.
So you have the ability and the mentorship, or if you want to stand up your own LLC, if you want to volunteer at the local church or food pantry or something like that, it's like, it's not about just getting another 40-hour job. It's figuring out what you want to do after you take the uniform off.
Yeah.
Right. And so having that purpose, whatever that opportunity, but what we want to do is not just throw them to the wolves. We want to give them the pathway of opportunity. And so by doing that, we look at their finances. We look at the trilogy of health. We bring in Warriors Rest to talk about the mental side of the house, right? We help them draw up their resumes. We give them a DISC personality test to figure out whether a task-oriented person or people-oriented person. And we apply different job sets that might be good for them based off of that. And then we put them in front of actual HRs.
Oh, that's incredible. So you do a little role play.
We do. We do 2 mock interviews with SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Management. So they come in on voluntarily. They're HRs from all over the spectrum, and they love giving that time back. And they will sit down with that first responder. And the first one's a 45-minute one. They'll get some feedback. And the next one's another 45-minute one. They'll get some feedback. And so now you've literally got a resume. You've done 2 interviews in front of real HR individuals, and now it sets you up a whole lot better than just hitting that retirement button and trying to figure out what you're going to do.
What I like a lot about what you've set up is this life coach.
Yeah.
So that through that process, they're connected with somebody that inevitably they're going to have that day where they're sitting in their car and they're about to go into whatever new thing they're doing, real estate or whatever, and they want to punch the steering wheel. Let's give Jeff a call. Hey, man, I'm struggling. Can we talk for a second? And so instead of going in there and blowing up on a non-service member that has no idea the walk, the struggle, you get to blow up on your battle buddy, if you want to call it that, before you walk in there. So then they don't get written up. Then they don't get all that stuff. And slowly you start to, that becomes less and less.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you become a business coach or a life coach.
And a lot of these mentors are like, home builders.
That's awesome.
One of them is in ministry. One of them is one of them owns a bunch of Herbalife cafes. Like all these various different
people just have a heart to serve.
Absolutely, facets. They're in the financial world. You name it. We have
they don't necessarily be a service member then.
I mean, so they come from the EMS fire side, but they have transferred into that private sector and being successful in that private sector. So we want people who have been there and worn the uniform, kind of like the veterans, right? So when they go through that transition, that mentor can sit there and say, I know what it looks like. It gives validity, right? And so when that person is then walked through that gate and then continuously, because what we'll do is we'll do 3, 6, 9, 12-month touch points on them to find out how they're doing. How does if they get hired by JP Morgan or something like that, we contact the company. How's that person doing for you? Is our program working?
So you're getting data, all points of data that's continuing to hone in a program to break it, fix it, break it, fix it, break it, fix it. The fact that you have that pure, I mean, I don't know what the syndrome is, but I see it, I hear it all the time. Well, you don't know what I went through. Actually, I do. Can we get that out of the way? Can we just get that out of the way right now? That's powerful. Where can people find you, man?
So our website, www.oncallproject.com, and then also on the socials. So On Call Project on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X. I mean, you name it, we're all over it. So.
And we're physical, we're tangible. You can come touch us.
Absolutely,
you can come knock on our door, come get a cup of coffee.
You can.
All right, brother.
Please come over and hang out with us, see what we're about, and love to. And also, we're looking, for sponsorships. We have a lot of different events. So if you're looking for how to get involved, just go to our events tab. We have a bunch that's coming up. In fact, we have a big event coming up at Cedar Gate in November. So we have a big lunch that's going to be out there, and actually bringing in a buddy of mine, Kelly Gregg, used to play for OU about Baltimore Ravens. His dad was a police officer and died 6 years after his retirement. So he's going to be able to talk about what that looks like, why we are necessary, and why we're important to be there. And so love to have everybody there and be able to level our people up and put them and repurpose them in the correct place they need to be in.
Man, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for all you're doing and continue to go, man.
Absolutely,
I'll be praying for you because I know the battle ain't over, man. It's every day.
No, it's not. I appreciate you, Chad. Thanks, man.